What's up, guys? Joel Vallie. What camera am I on? Over here? On the 3-shot, eh? Welcome to our, well, this is our round table. Now, man, I'm so confused. Okay.
Tally's not working.
We are live on YouTube to our Patreons. Our Patreons get to sit in on our round table. And we just take a second, right, guys, to thank our Patreon people. Thank you so much because of you guys, we get to do stupid stuff like costume changes and game show stuff. And so we, in this section, this segment that we have, we are going over a roundtable discussion. That discussion is based off a topic that Alex brought to the table the other day, which was video games we'd like to see revived.
Yeah, franchises.
And I know we said franchises, but maybe it's just one. They only made one. You know, I know in what I've chosen this week, there's only been one video game made. So I am here with the crew. Let's show the crew that we got here. How are you guys doing? We even have a special guest, Mr. iRetro Gamer, Tyler himself. Tyler, how are you?
I'm doing good, man.
Good to have you on the show.
Absolutely. I don't think I've been. Oh, I have, but like on the different studio. This is the first time in this studio.
Right.
I think that I've been on the show.
Yeah, you were on the show when we were in the old studio.
Yeah.
Quite some time ago.
That was, yeah, like a year ago.
That studio.
God, was I even there for that?
No.
I don't
think anyone was. I think we came
just
in.
You and me, yeah.
You know, we came in.
I remember when you guys did that.
Yeah. So, John is in timeout. Yeah. He has been a bad boy. So I got him back there. I was like, John, you are reading comments. You're in timeout. So, okay, so they're pointing at the camera. Which camera I gotta use? So he's in timeout, but he is going to be interacting with the Patreon people. They are allowed to ask questions, and when John finds a proper space to interject with a comment or a question, he will do that. So, encouraging our YouTube Patreons to go ahead and leave your comments and suggestions, stuff like that. So, again, we are talking about games that we want to see rebirth. What did you call it? Revived, okay? And a lot of games to cover in this section. We will be taking, every 15 minutes, we're gonna be doing a commercial break as well for the people on TV, because it's live on TV. But I wanna hear from Alex. Let's start with you.
All right.
Kick it off. What is a game that this is probably a game you're fond of, right?
Oh, absolutely. We're gonna start out with Altered Beast.
Oh my
goodness. Nice.
Not only one of my very favorites, but it was my first video game.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was. Because it was the pack-in title for the Sega Genesis. So, of course, that was the only game I had for a while. It was the first game I ever mastered. I got it down when I was about 5, and I haven't been able to beat it since.
Really?
And so this masterful playing that you see here, this is all Joel. He did this for me.
I almost went through it. I was a little rusty, and I died on the last.
It was like handing the controller to my big brother.
Do you get me wiping out this boss in 2 seconds?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I included him. I love Hades. He turns into all of these crazy monsters. And so do you. I mean, you've got these amazing like beasties that you turn into. For some reason, you turn into wolfers too.
Subtly more buff as you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, your shirt.
It was like the first steroid promotion.
Yeah.
You know, like get juiced.
Power up.
Yeah. This isn't WWF. This is WWF.
These guys are huge, man. They're so ginormous.
Yeah, and it's like I can't get any buffer. I have to turn into an animal next.
Yeah.
And that's how it works.
Yeah.
Don't do roids, kids.
Now they did bring this
It was like the Game Boy Advance, right?
Well, they did one on the Game Boy Advance, but they also did one on the PS2 for PAL regions.
But it was only in Europe, and I never played it.
Wasn't well received. No.
I wanted to play it. John, did you ever get a chance to play it?
No, I just saw some video.
John's in timeout.
Hey, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Quiet, yo.
But I agree. I think this one would be fantastic to just see revived.
Oh, I love this bad guy. Just this random unicorn man. He's the only one that comes up.
That's a rhino.
That rhino's in Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh.
Just to let you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there's this purple unicorn man that saunters up.
In the arcade, he's actually purple.
Yeah.
There's so many little Easter eggs in that movie. It's
Oh,
crazy.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
feel like there were-
understood why he had to be a wolf in the last one. He was already a wolf. Give us another animal here.
It's a golden wolf.
So?
It's
But
different.
it's
They ran out
almost.
of memory on the
It's
cartridge.
what she was into, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's like, I like my men a little more bronze.
because it was an extra level in the Genesis, right? Than the arcade.
No,
Nope.
no, it's the
set.
same thing.
It was the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the only difference is the arcade ending had like, it was a TV show.
Oh yeah.
And they're all holding up beers and they're selling.
Yeah.
It's weird,
You
man.
find out it's like a movie that you've been watching
Yeah.
or something like
And
that.
they changed that on the Genesis,
Yeah.
which is
Oh,
kind of,
neat.
I don't know why
That's
they did that.
bananas. I've never heard of
Yeah,
that.
the
Yeah.
credits. Same thing with Golden Axe.
I remember the
Yeah.
Golden
Yeah.
Axe one.
If you beat the Golden Axe in the arcade, it's,
What?
It's like a movie you're watching. Yeah.
I have to go look this up later. You guys are pulling my leg.
No, I'm dead serious, man. Check it out.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Altered Beast, and it makes me so mad when I see bigger YouTube channels and they knock it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'm just like, man, you guys don't know.
So it comes off as super cheesy. Like the concept is really kind of rough, probably, until you get into it. Because it's a game you totally get into, I think.
Right.
Watching it probably comes off a little more like weird male power fantasy kind of stuff until you actually play it and you're like, no, this is actually just fun and kind of inspired.
Yeah, it's very fun. Yeah,
One
I
of
love
the
the Greek
enemies is great.
mythology.
Right.
You know, it's,
Right, it's deeper than what you initially see
Yeah.
just watching someone
well,
play
it's
it.
like they combined like a beat 'em up with Rampage.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Rampage is not necessarily a beat 'em up; it's like a destruction game. So I love that concept of turn into the animals.
And Agar, which is the first level boss, to this day is still like one of my favorite
Oh.
level bosses.
Wait,
of
is
all
that the
time.
guy that's like hucking heads?
Yeah,
at
the
Yeah.
devil head, like when he's
He's
chucking
iconic.
heads.
So cool.
And his body's
Yeah.
made of like human bones and flesh and remains, and I'm just like, let's
Yeah.
get that level boss nowadays. We don't get level bosses anymore. You guys
No.
miss level bosses?
Level
Ask them in the
bosses.
chat. How's the chat? Anyone chatting?
There's all sorts of games that still have that. I mean, Dark Souls is like pretty much like a,
All
a
level
level
bosses.
boss type
I still
game,
gotta
yeah.
play Dark Souls.
Cuphead.
I did put it in my PS4. I've gone that far.
Oh, nice.
I put it in my PS4, watched the intro, I'm like, I'll be back. Made my character, so I'll be back.
I've yet to play.
What did the chat say?
Cuphead.
So Paul actually, this is the first off the Untitled Chapter. I don't know if you can hear me well.
Okay.
Paul said his first game as a kid was Ghostbusters on the Commodore 64.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the first Ghostbusters game I ever played, and it was at my cousin's house, and that's how I was introduced to
Me too.
Ghostbusters in gaming. Yeah.
First Ghostbusters, Commodore 64.
Yep, that was-
first one too. And Sega Genesis, Ghostbusters, amazing.
My
Play
favorite.
it today.
Well, like I don't know, Ghostbusters, the unofficial third movie. That's
really
incredible.
good.
Like really
Oh,
good.
for the PS3.
PS3 and
Yeah.
It's not better than
Oh,
Genesis.
it's also on the
though.
Wii.
It was
It
on a bunch
straddles
of
that
consoles.
line.
Yeah, because I actually have that one. They actually got all the original actors to come back and do
Yeah.
the voice
Yep.
acting.
And
'cause
they
were
did, and they
into it.
wrote
It's
it.
written
I
like-
mean, it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Is it
it's
actually pretty fun?
Oh, it's
Oh,
great.
it's-
It's a lot of
yeah,
fun too.
it is.
great
Yeah.
gameplay.
Yeah, it's super fun. You can play
It's fantastic.
No, it's
It's basically Ghostbusters 3.
one of
Yeah.
the best games on the PS3.
It was
okay.
it was a
No
good
lies, so.
successor
Totally.
to it. It's kind of the way it should have been done.
And one thing, getting back to Altered Beast, one thing that I really love as well is they polished the actual gameplay from the arcade, and this is something that they did with Golden Axe as well.
Yeah.
They just it feels better on the Sega Genesis.
Yeah,
than
it
does
wasn't
in
a
the arcade.
trashy, like throwaway port.
Yeah,
They
like
did a
a-
good job
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah,
Well,
it wasn't a quarter sucker.
It was
like,
exactly
like
like
the Altered Beast.
they refined it and made it more playable in a home environment. Yeah. They didn't make you feel like you were terrible.
That's a great
Yeah.
start. So later this gets uploaded to YouTube. So if you have a game you guys would love to see them remake, let us know in the comment section below.
Right.
So awesome, Dustin. What do you have?
I'd say one series, well, I'm not even sure if I'd want to see it necessarily revived, but finished, is Ogre Battle.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
I
Well, the
mean-
last one is on PS1.
I don't think I've ever played it.
Well, yeah, Tactics Ogre came out on PS1, and then they re-released the original Super NES game on PS1 again.
Yeah.
And then they re-released the PS1 game on to the
PSP.
PSP. So they kept re-releasing those three games, and then they had two side stories that weren't part of it. But you have episode 5, 6, and 7. So it's like getting the original Star Wars trilogy,
I was about to say Star Wars.
but like there's so much more lore and depth in that universe that you never get to see, and I think it's just a shame, The one on the N64 was fantastic, and I like that all of them were a little bit different too.
Yeah.
I mean, you had.
You're a fan of this series.
I am
known
a
you for
big
while.
fan of this series, and I mean, they're even kind of a precursor to my favorite game of all time, which is Final Fantasy Tactics. But the first ogre battle, it just kind of had this epic story. It was Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones. I mean, I guess the first book had been written at the time, but like political intrigue, just this grim dark fantasy world, and battle of good versus evil. It has kind of moral choices and
Clinging.
What do you mean
Lots
moral
of clinging.
choices?
Lots of clinging together.
well, in the third game for Tactics Ogre, I mean, you can pretty much, by the actions of the war, you can choose to have your character be a bad guy or a good guy, and it completely changes the story. And really, it's one of the earlier games that happens, kind of like, I mean, Fable's a more recent one to think about where,
Yeah,
Right.
recent, relatively speaking.
but I mean, just the fact that you can take to heart the things that happen to the character in the game and see how, I mean, depending on how you want to react to that situation, it completely changes how the game plays out. And I just think it's amazing that there's a lot of replayability there.
Because you can take these different paths.
'Cause-
Does it affect on multiple levels? Like you're interacting with general NPCs and there's multiple paths through every individual conversation, or does it only apply to major storyline
It
moments?
applies to like major chapters. So like a chapter can play out a certain way, and that affects how the next chapter plays out. And I mean,
Catching a fan of RPG.
well, I'm a
Well,
big
he's a
thing
tactic
going
guy.
on here.
yeah.
I've tried, dude. Like when I found out it was your favorite game, I think you even talked me into buying it one day.
I did.
And I did. I tried. I put some hours into it, and I was like, I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah, I understand.
And yeah.
What is it about it though? Is it the pacing just kind of slow, or is it?
No, actually, like
Tactics
Tactics has a really good pacing.
Okay.
It's not my style of game. I don't think it's a bad game at all. Not my style, but like I can see that not very many good tactic games get made nowadays. They do, but I don't know. They all kind of feel the same, and I feel like that universe that's already established, that would be a good IP to come back and revisit.
What's your favorite Tactics game?
I don't know if it's tactic, but my favorite game where you kind of control the surroundings is Populous on the Sega Genesis.
That's
Okay.
Like I could play that forever and never get bored.
it's definitely in the same realm. I'd consider it a tactic.
And I love it.
So Paul says there seems to be fewer moral choices in gaming these days unless it's a walking simulator.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, that
Good
is true.
point.
It's very on rails.
Consequential.
Right.
I don't know that there's as much focus on replayability nowadays because games are so quickly gone through, and
Right.
there's a very small percentage of people who even finish games anymore.
Well, you sort of have nowadays it seems like most games fall into the two different categories, like the full-on open world or like an on-rails sort of game, or I guess the third one just like a straight-up multiplayer game.
Yeah.
But
We do see games like Detroit. Yeah, what is it? Detroit
Become Human.
Become Human, where
yeah.
every choice matters.
And Heavy Rain.
Yeah, and Heavy Rain and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
I remember Heavy Rain at PAX 2012 when they
So
were advertising
there are
it.
some where you're like, oh dang, I just killed that kid. Oh man,
Oh wow.
Life is Strange is another good one.
Yeah.
That one's
right. But is that from the people that do all the storytelling?
no, they're from
Telltale?
Don't Nod.
Telltale, yeah. That's
Telltale.
yeah.
I love
Telltale.
those too, man.
Yeah.
Like The Walking Dead.
The Walking
oh
Dead
my
ones
gosh.
are great.
If you haven't played those,
But
wow.
but Paul's right.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
you choose a path, and it's obvious which path you're taking, and you're just choosing. And while those appeal to a lot of people, it's not necessarily the same as having this game and then moral centered around the
Yeah.
game too. But I mean, resurgence of some RPGs like Bravely Default and Octopath Traveler, like the way Square Enix developed those games, I think they could definitely bring back the Ogre Battle franchise, since it's one that they own the rights to. But they have a tendency to kind of forget about all these IPs that people would love to see new games in. Like another one's Chrono Trigger. You know, the Chrono series.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Is Parasite Eve?
Parasite Eve is Square Enix.
I'd like to have another one.
Yeah, me too.
Another franchise that I'll be talking about later is also Square Enix. So, I mean,
Well, how are we doing on
Somebody's favorite
commercial?
voice
Do we have to
acting
take
in
commercial, or can we keep going? So let's take a commercial break. We're gonna take 2 minutes, and then we'll come back and finish up. Not finish up. Go dive further into this discussion. So we'll be back after this. What's up, guys? Welcome back from that commercial break. We are discussing, this is our round table, what video games we would love to see revived, right?
Resurrected.
And resurrected from the
Necromanced.
dead. People have forgotten about them, and it's time to bring them back. So, Dylan, what is the game you want to see come back?
Sorry, I was just looking at our awesome background.
You like that Galaga?
We're,
That's so
we're
cool.
hurling through space
It
right
looks
now.
great,
It's
huh?
okay, we've got indestructible
Anyways,
glass
this topic
here.
is hard. There's just so much to choose from.
It is.
But I had to go with Tenchu.
Oh, nice.
okay.
On PS1?
Yeah, PS1 Tenchu. This game is awesome. I played this a lot when I was a kid. Loved, running around with like the little poisoned rice balls.
Yeah.
And leaving them on the ground, and the guards are like, "Oh, what's this? I'm hungry."
Yep.
Walk over to go grab them and eat them. And
Wait, they just eat them off the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Castlevania
they
style.
get sick.
Like,
if
and
you're
then they
mature-
ate something off the floor. So we don't even know
Off
if
the
they're
dirt.
poisoned?
This is like feudal Japan, okay? You see food on the ground, you go
I
eat
love
it,
this.
okay?
It's awesome.
Okay.
Absolutely love this
I'm not here to judge.
The level design is great. The sort of objectives that you have, the stealth combat, the items that you get, everything is really neat. And
It's a high degree of options as far as how you get through the world, because you can
Exactly.
avoid everybody
Yeah,
if
you
you're
can-
really good.
if you're really good, you can avoid everybody. If you know exactly where the target is, you can run rooftop to rooftop to find who you're going after to
Like
kill
a
them.
Or
So-
if you really
And
know
I-
what you're doing,
yeah.
you just walk through and kill everybody you see.
Yeah, and that's hard to do. Doing the combat in this game without stealth is actually quite difficult
Right.
and requires a lot of skill. So you really do want to do a lot of stealth killing in this game. And
that run animation.
And I mean, saying the whole stealth thing, I will say this, that like, and not to take anything away from Revenge of Shinobi, because it's my favorite game, or Ninja Gaiden, I felt like this was the first time you felt like this is probably what a ninja would feel
Right.
like.
Yes.
Where
That's
it
right.
is stealthy.
Maybe like Bushindo Blade.
These are
Yeah.
some janky looking models, though.
But yeah.
Basically,
it's PS1.
feudal Japan,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hitman.
Now,
Yeah.
if you brought this back, would it be that style still?
So speaking on that, I guess originally, I don't know if you guys know this, but the game Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice was originally supposed to be a Tenchu game, sort of. Yeah.
Is that real?
and-
You're just
and then-
making that up.
No, I'm not making that up.
Now I gotta go buy it.
And it has a lot. You'll see like the hook shot on the roof and like the sort of the stealth
Like
mechanics
callbacks to it,
are a lot like.
It plays a lot like
It plays a lot like Tenchu.
extreme version of this.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and so in that way, sort of, if you like Tenchu, you can have sort of that feel. But I don't know. I think the game's awesome. I really enjoyed it. So this is like the first mission here. Just ran around for a little bit, and I guess due to the rendering limitations, that's why the shadows are all there. So
It's kind of more
can't see
effective
very-
that way.
Yeah.
That's a good.
The Dead of Night.
Paul says this is the first game that got him into stealth.
Yes.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
is
stealth
fair. I
games
think for
are
a lot
awesome.
of people, like this is Metal
Yeah.
Well,
Gear.
this and Metal Gear Solid.
Yep.
And it's
that
it's
was
hard to
mine.
convey like a good stealth game in like modern times, because like not even Sekiro really does it right, because you can go up to enemies and attack them,
Yeah.
and their neighboring guy like standing right next to them doesn't even notice it, and so it's hard to still get that immersion of a stealth
Yeah.
game when you're playing a proper stealth game. So
I find stealth games really hard to get into.
Yeah.
But like back in the day, these easy. I was glued to the TV.
well, it's all about like pattern memorization and
Yeah.
like learning the levels and the layout and everything. Like I know this guard walks down this path, and then the other guard crosses down here, so the timing has got to be just right. And just,
Right.
It's like you're
That's one of
setting
the
up for a
things I
high
really
school
like
Getting
about-
those plans.
Yeah.
I really like that about
We got
Splinter
John out of
Cell.
timeout. We gave him a
I'm
mic.
sorry. Yeah.
So-
I know I shouldn't be saying
Because he's
anything.
doing so well monitoring the stream. We decided decided to take him out.
His
of
face
timeout.
is glowing blue.
So moving right along, Miranda.
Oh man, Tenchu is that one too. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, is that one
You
of
want
your
to say
picks?
something more about Tenchu?
No,
please?
Tenchu
okay.
was just a lot of fun. I hope they can revive that series.
Another ninja game that I think was really underrated and I think would be cool to be revived is Enter the Darkness. It was the IDOS one.
Cool.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought
Something
you were
else owned by Square Enix that they could revive. That
I thought you were going to say Wrath
I
of the
feel like
Black
you've got a
Mana.
whole theme going on with one company tonight.
You're
Well-
kind of salty.
Well, there's a lot of Sega revived these and Square Enix revived these.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I
why?
feel like Sega's doing.
Well, they're actually
Yeah, that's
asking. They're like, "Hey
Yeah.
guys, what franchises would you like to see us revive?" And I think that's awesome. So
Nice.
Paul says Fallout and Skyrim stealth is hilarious because you can just crouch and disappear entirely.
Yeah, that's true.
It's fair. There's sort of like broken mechanics.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
Tenchu
exactly.
had
So it
weird
ruins the
glitchy
immersion.
stuff
Yeah.
too, and
Oh, yeah.
including very, very limited AI. Those guards
Yeah.
were not passing any
Right.
SATs.
That's true.
Satisfying for the
But for
player.
like the original like ninja game, it did a good job.
was
Yeah, I
good.
did.
It's
Yeah.
true.
I think they should bring back Ninja Golf on Atari 78.
Ninja Golf.
Agreed.
That's the one I want to see.
That's a
Okay,
ninja.
yeah, we can move on then.
that's
Miranda.
All right, so moving ahead from a game that is possibly older than you are to the year 2000. Does anybody remember the game Perfect Dark?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I know originally it was considered kind of a Lady James Bond, and it was kind of marketed that way,
Yeah.
you know. But
After
here's like the
Goldeneye.
original commercial from the '90s. I managed to find that on YouTube.
cool.
I was like, oh yeah.
We're
Remember when
getting
they had amazing commercials for video games too?
Yeah.
Man,
I just remember
Pretty
rapping
racy.
Link.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, I remember a lot of the ones, but
What
either
is she
way,
drinking?
she's drinking green juice.
Slime.
You're in the future. This is the year 2023.
We're gonna have to cut that one.
We're
I'll
almost
see
there.
YouTube, just so you know.
Okay.
Anyway, keep going.
It is not. Anyway, either way, so it's kind of a charming game because it came out in the year 2000. It's a first-person shooter with multiplayer action with, you know, you're playing this secret agent. You play Joanna Dark, who I guess maybe not a secret agent, but she's like a top graduate from the Carrington Institute, and you have to deal with like corporate espionage against the massive futuristic corporation of Datadyne, and they're Datadyne, and they've kidnapped a scientist, and you've got to go rescue him. But then stuff gets kind of weird. You find out they're like experimenting with cloning. They're getting ready to clone the president. They are in cahoots with aliens.
Aliens.
By the end of the game, you are on an
It's a
alien
ride.
spaceship. It's so fun.
and your
That's
alien
bananas.
friend is named Elvis.
Elvis.
I love
That's
it.
right, that's
I love
right,
it.
because there's
And he
like
w-
one on the inside.
And he wears an American flag vest.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, it had a lot of moxie, and like
Yeah.
Joanna Dark was kind of an interesting character, and then like
It was great. It was a great original creation.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna take the James Bond formula, especially past GoldenEye, and create something new that's original, yeah, I wanted to see tons of sequels of that. I wanted that to continue.
Too bad. The sequel.
Well, I was gonna say, so this was originally Raresoft, which made Conker's Bad Fur Day, which made some really like
Oh, okay.
sharp,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
imaginative games with Moxie, and I would say the original Perfect Dark
Donkey Kong
had
Country.
Moxie. There you go.
Yeah.
And then Microsoft bought them in 2002, and then 2005 you have Perfect Dark Zero, and they're like, we're gonna be gritty. And no one cared.
And
because at that point
boring.
it really was just Lady James Bond.
It was
And no
okay,
one cared.
But it was,
It's not a terrible game, yeah.
but it wasn't Perfect Dark.
No.
Right.
You know.
So much so that in 2010 they remade Perfect Dark. They're like, hey guys, there's a remaster. Buy this game again.
This is what you wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, did they remake it?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
they did an
HD
HD
version.
one
Oh,
for
that's
the
cool.
360.
Oh, I never
yeah.
played that one.
Wide
So in your
screen, 60
ideal world,
FPS.
if they were to revive it, would it be more like the
No, it
original?
needs
or
to be like
new?
the original because it was actually an original game originally, right?
Like a million different
obviously-
weapons.
Yeah, she had a ton of different weapons.
Originally,
she
it
was
was
just
an
That
original
blacksmith?
game.
You blacksmith in the crowd? What are you doing here? It's good to see you, dude. You're with him? Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah. So Paul says he actually bought the 64 memory expansion just to play Perfect Dark. since
Yeah.
it mostly
Oh,
required
yeah.
that. Yeah.
we
So-
did that for
Neat.
Turok.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
Turok 2.
Turok 2.
Yeah, Turok 2. That's
Which is
Turok
another
was
one that would be awesome to see come back.
Well, they
Turok.
did. They brought
They
Turok
did,
back in the
But
last
I
gen.
don't think it was good.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It was all
Yeah, it
right.
was-
It wasn't bad.
It was a,
It was just
Yeah.
like
What was the
It's
last?
me.
What
Yep.
was the last Turok?
last gen.
Oh, did
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, 360
Really?
and
Wow,
PS3.
okay.
360.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tyler, what do you got?
I got for us Alien Storm.
Alien
On
Storm,
the Sega,
Sega.
Genesis.
On the alien theme.
The original Alien Storm on Sega Genesis is just one of my favorite beat 'em ups of all time. And
look at that.
It gets so neglected because everybody remembers Streets of Rage, everybody
Golden
remembers
Axe.
Golden Axe, and even Comic Zone, all these other Sega beat 'em ups. But nobody talks or gives credit where credit's due to Alien Storm.
That's cool.
And I just love this game for its 1950s B sci-fi movie aesthetic. I love that it mixes that with Ghostbusters. That's why I'm actually sporting the Ghostbusters hat today, because I thought I could, talk about the fact that this is basically Ghostbusters, but with alien hunters. They hunt aliens, not ghosts. In fact, the arcade version of the game had a cutscene in the beginning. During what you're waiting to, what do they call it, a track mode, where they show that they have a food cart that they run called Alien Burgers, and it's insinuating that the aliens that they hunt and kill, they actually cook up in their burger cart as like a side job. And I don't know, this game is just wacky. It's
insanely ambitious. Too.
It is.
It's like April O'Neil mixed with Rambo.
Kind of
Well,
does.
You can pick
three different
out of three
characters.
different characters.
Yeah,
so
they're
it's not just her.
You got Banana Suit April O'Neil. You've got a guy in a red jumpsuit who resembles, I guess he's kind of trying to be like your Arnold, actually he looks like a news anchor if you look at his face. But then you got the robot who's pulled right out of those old B-50s movies like Lost in Space, and he's iRobot and that kind of stuff. He has that weird
Forbidden
1950s.
Planet.
Yeah, that's exactly. But it's such a great beat 'em up with a great sense of humor, and it always saddened me that even back in the day that there was never a sequel, because you'd have these
gross.
sequels. You have these sequels to Streets
What
of
is
Rage
that?
coming out, and that's the bosses. Yeah, they're so crazy. There's a moment here, I don't know if you
What?
captured the B-roll, where they go running just as fast as Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah,
Yep.
and they jump
Yeah.
over these giant chasms, and it's just
And that's what I meant by ambitious.
Yeah.
They were it's not just this type of game. It's also Dynamite Duke, and
Yes.
it's also
this like a shooter
exactly.
almost. Yeah, absolutely. And you can tell that. I mean, at least I can tell while I'm playing it that the developers had so much fun just making the game because it has such a crazy zany quality. Look at these cutscenes where there's a cutscene like that where I don't know if you got the B-roll of it, but this alien creature's chasing a little boy, and he's getting closer and closer to the little boy. But the boy runs off camera, quote unquote, camera off screen.
But he's dead.
But the alien's about to kill him.
Here's the boy and here's the alien, and it's
yeah. He's running across, and by the time he leaves the screen, the alien's right upon him. So.
which is just good directing
Now,
of a game.
would this would it still be a beat 'em up? Would it be like Streets of Rage that's coming back? They keep the same style, different art.
I think it would be cool to see this reimagined or not reimagined, but redone, remastered in a modern 8-bit or 16-bit. This is 16-bit, 16-bit style. But with all the bells and whistles that you find in games today, like Shovel Knight. And I would love to see it done like that with great fluid animation and that would be cool because I feel like you said, the gameplay mixed so many styles. And that it would still be incredibly entertaining. And just the mere fact that we never got another one, I would want to see another one done with the same style. So I would say keep it the same. Yeah.
Cool.
Paul says this looks fun. He's never played it before, but out of the beat 'em ups that he was growing up with, Maximum Carnage.
Yeah.
I played
Oh,
Maximum
yeah.
Carnage.
Maximum Carnage was a little repetitive for me.
Yeah.
I didn't really.
Because you
It's a
could-
good game though.
Yeah, you
it's
could go
not
back
bad,
and
yeah,
forth.
And I mean, you can't forget the red card
Yeah,
that came
iconic.
out.
Oh, that was
most
yeah.
SNES. Dick Doom had a red
Doom
card.
was the only other
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, so
And the Genesis one.
Yeah,
The
Genesis was red as
red
well,
card.
yeah.
yeah.
In fact, that was the only, I think, colored Genesis cart that ever came out.
Yeah.
I
Really?
don't think anybody else went that far.
At least licensed.
Yeah,
licensed,
licensed, yeah. So you can definitely spot that in a second when you're looking through games.
EA always made those weird ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The really
They
big
were
ones.
a
The
little
yellow
big with a
tab.
yellow tab.
Yeah.
It was never fit in another case if you had to change out.
Well, you know that EA they were trying to. They actually were holding Sega for ransom at one point.
Really?
They were saying we have to do things our way. Or, we need to stand out amongst the other
EA's
games.
always been
Yeah.
EA,
Oh
is
yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah. Absolutely. And they were like, our games.
Oh, my
we're so
gosh.
special and we're so amazing that we're not going to bend to how you do the games. Our games need to stand out on the store shelf. That's basically what they said. And they held Madden for ransom. They said, you're not getting Madden unless we do it our way. And there you go.
Okay, so the game I want to talk about which is a game that I feel like doesn't get any love hardly. It does on collections, but one I'd love to see totally remastered. Bring it back Skyrim style.
Ooh.
Huge open world, Sword of Vermillion.
Okay.
And the thing about Sword of Vermillion is when you first start playing it, my lord, are the controls crazy.
Yeah.
They're so tanky and it's really weird and it's crazy. But man, once you get into the story, once you get into just the combat, yes, it looks crazy and it feels awkward, but after a while, there's a charm, you know? Basically, your dad was the king and you were born, they were gonna come and kill you, so he gave you to a guy named Blade who raised you. You know, we've seen this story before. Yeah. And then you find out Blade is not your dad on his deathbed, which always sucks, you know?
Wesley Snipes.
Same. It's like happened to me too, you know. It's crazy. And then you're going around. You're like here in this map system. It is awkward. It is awkward. But once you get it, it makes sense. It's so weird. I can't explain it.
Yeah.
Down is backwards and forward is. But when you play it for like 30, 40 minutes, then it makes sense. I don't know how. Your brain makes a transition, and then you're doing just fine.
It is oddly
you
immersive.
have the two different views there?
Yeah. So you're seeing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you're seeing his front
First
view, what he's
person.
seeing. So
it's like a dungeon crawler, so you're
Yeah.
exploring the dungeon,
Neat.
but you have the map right next
That
to it.
is
That's really
pretty cool.
inventive.
See, that's how they should have done Fatal Labyrinth.
yeah.
That's how Fatal
Yeah.
Fatal Labyrinth would have been so much cooler if it was done like that.
Agreed.
And of course, back in the day, slimes. I mean, Dragon Warriors or Dragon Quest still carries that tradition of slimes being the first thing you fight.
Gosh, this reminds me of the
better
original
than
games
rats.
you'd play back when, like, you had to launch Windows from a DOS disk.
Well, it does look a little. It does look a bit primitive. It does look a bit primitive, but I'm telling you guys, it's so much fun, and because you have to do quite a bit of grinding right from the jump, and if you don't know that, a lot of people don't even get to see where it starts to get really good. Because at some point you go back to the king and then you start getting graphics like this.
Oh, that's awesome.
But this ain't until further into the game.
Yeah, I never made it that far in the game.
Yeah, and oh
It's your
man,
dad.
some of the bosses that you fight are incredible in this game. But no one makes it that far, it seems like.
It's a scary looking.
So it's a
dragon.
game you have to really give time and patience to, and that's where it pays off. Like,
And the music, outstanding. It
Oh,
is
yeah.
so good. So anyway, we gotta take a commercial break. I think we're already 2 minutes over. So we'll take a commercial break. We'll come back and we'll see some more games that we think need to be revisited. We'll be right back. What's it got? Whatever, man. What's going on, dude? Welcome back after that commercial break. And we're looking at games that we would love to see come back, resurrect. Games that people have forgotten about, franchises that have been forgotten, that are collecting dust. And we got to move a little bit faster if we want to hit all the games that we came in with today. Alex, what do you got for us?
My next one is also an arcade classic like my first one. It's Rampage.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, totally.
Nice.
And
No,
see-
hey, I made a movie of that.
Oh, I
You didn't
haven't
like the
seen
movie?
it
The
yet.
Rock was in
I
that?
actually had fun with the movie. I just
was-
turned off my brain
It was
and I had a
fun.
good
It
time.
was fun.
It was fun.
Fair enough. I managed to find like the original commercial here, so that was fun.
Oh,
The
hey.
trailer.
But
Oh, this is a trailer of.
That's World Tour, huh?
Total Destruction.
Total Destruction.
PS2. Yeah.
Is that the last one we got? We got one for the Wii, right?
there was
I believe there was one.
technically the most recent one is like a Dave & Buster's exclusive.
Yeah.
And it was
Based
kind of
on
a
the
tie-in
movie.
with the new movie. But see, I always thought
That looks great.
that
too.
there would be it would be really cool to kind of take the IP in a different direction.
Okay.
See, I always found Rampage to be very, very cathartic.
Yeah.
But I thought that Prototype
What's that,
was
a
super
screen?
cathartic as well. So
Yeah.
I thought it would be really cool to kind of do like a third-person perspective
Yes.
with open city.
Yes.
And kind of combine it with maybe Katamari, like you
Oh,
eat so
yeah.
many bystanders and you size up, you get new abilities.
Or like Altered Beast. Even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like
Power up.
Altered Boot, kind of like that. Only you're eating pedestrians.
Yes.
It's more rounded.
But you keep evolving.
nutrition.
They should have worked that aspect into Altered Beast.
Oh,
And yeah,
Eating
you can like run straight up buildings, pound out like
So what do you start
Fountains.
off human size in?
yeah, you might even start off as a human or maybe even like as a harmless like little lizard or an escaped monkey or something.
No,
and then
you
you
should
like
start
get
off
to
as a
the ooze.
construction worker, building everything.
For his POV.
No, it's like a guy at the drawing table, the architect.
We're not playing Wreck-It Ralph here. We're playing Rampage.
You start as the game designer.
Yeah.
And he's making.
So meta.
So like SimCity that
This
leads
is too
into
meta for me.
Yes.
Too meta for me. I
yeah,
just
a
want
new
to destroy
Rampage
buildings.
is needed.
That's all you want to do in
Yeah,
life.
well,
then why do
destroy
you care
buildings
about
and
the
eat
RPG
people.
element of building them up?
We actually recently
Yeah.
got to spend quite a bit of time with
Yes.
the creator of Rampage.
Really?
Yeah, we hung out with them and
Game on Expo
yeah.
last year.
Neat.
and all the stories that went into making that. And
It was
he was
awesome.
actually had a cameo in the movie, but it got cut. But it is on
Yeah.
the DVD
Ah.
behind the scenes.
We were like literally the booth next to him.
yeah, it was our booth and then his booth was
Yeah.
right next.
That's so cool.
Ralph and Wreck-It Ralph is named after the character Ralph in
Yeah.
Rampage
Yeah,
as
he's
well.
the big wolf man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually the creator, he actually said that he doesn't like many of the sequels that have come out because he's the designer of the original Rampage and World Tour. And everything else, he's like so far removed from, even the ports to the different consoles and systems. I asked him, I said like, so what do you think of the Master System, or the NES version? That was the one that was horrible. The NES port of the game, and he was like, I don't even go there. Like he looked at me like, I don't even
no.
ask me. He was sweet, he was nice, but he was like, nah, that is not
But it's
my.
behind
he
the
puts your
eyes,
his fingers
just
like,
simmering
Yeah,
anger.
Dustin, what do you got?
So my next franchise is Grandia. Grandia,
So good.
I would love.
There's two, right?
There's
Or is there
actually
three?
4.
What?
There's Grandia, Grandia 2, Grandia Extreme, and Grandia 3.
So you want Grandia 5?
Basically.
Okay.
Or Grandia 3
But-
Extra Extreme.
And again, thinking of things like Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default, but then also just the anime style and the heart of adventure that are in these games makes me think of Ni no Kuni and things like that. I mean, there are successful games that are very much like this. I don't see why they couldn't make another game like this now. And
I know why. 'Cause it's Square.
well, it is Square Enix. It's true. It's owned by them now. But
And Grandia 2, that was my favorite. I
Grandia
love
2, Grandia 1 and 2 are easily
That's as far as I got.
Yeah.
I didn't even know
Same
there
here.
was a 3.
On Dreamcast.
Square
that's what it-
Square Enix
Yep.
actually did the third game, and it was on PS2, and it wasn't bad, but I feel like it didn't feel the same. The music wasn't the same. I mean, Noriyuki Iwadare did all of the composing for the earlier games, and the soundtracks were just phenomenal.
Yeah.
The combat was different in each
Great
game,
battle system.
and
I
just
thought the voice acting was really solid.
yeah, I enjoy the voice acting in them.
These
they're-
colors keep reminding me of Alundra.
It was very
Oh, Alundra,
immersive
yeah.
again. And
Yeah.
One of the strengths of Grandia, of course, you're running around the world. You really feel like you're in this beautiful fantasy environment. Like you didn't want to ever leave.
Yeah,
It was
I mean,
really
you're
fun.
exploring. It's an adventure. It's fun. It's
Colorful.
a great
Yeah, it
story.
had a great color palette.
I remember the second one was such a great addition to the Dreamcast library of RPGs because it was kind of not a great RPG system, the Dreamcast, but the RPGs it did have were really great. Like Grandia 2 and Skies of Arcadia,
Oh.
which is
Remember that
just
one?
incredible.
Oh,
I
gosh, that's
mean,
another good
That's
one.
another one that Sega
remember
could
Egg?
bring
yeah,
back.
yes, absolutely.
Remember Egg?
I never played it much, yeah, but I know it had an incredible visual art style.
It's good.
Yeah.
So Paul asks, does Square Enix just own the rights to everything now? And they've scooped up a lot of smaller companies.
Michael Jackson buying up all
Yeah.
the Beatles.
Like a lot of it's accidental, I think.
Yeah.
You know, less like Disney where, you know, they're planning their acquisitions.
Right.
Square Enix just is like, well, we bought this company,
It just
and
came
I
with 5
guess
others.
they own all these other IPs. Like IDOS, at least they brought Tomb Raider back, and I was
Yeah.
happy with that.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, they helped bring Hitman back.
Paul likes that.
Yeah, Paul's happy about that.
Yeah.
Patreon Paul.
But
Thank you, Patreon.
but there's just other things that fell under those categories,
Right.
like Quest and Game Arts and all of those different companies that they acquired that they just never touched again. Even a lot of NX stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Grandia was originally at Game Arts, right?
It was Game Arts,
Yeah.
and then NX did Grandia Extreme, and then
okay.
when they merged,
Yeah,
No kidding.
interesting.
There's so man, the whole Square history is insane.
it's nuts.
Especially, it's awesome if you've been there from the jump, like some of us.
We should
And
totally
I've
do like
seen
a
it.
timeline of
Yeah,
Square
I know,
Enix
right?
video.
Yeah, that would
This
be a
is
good
when they
video.
almost went bankrupt. Then Final Fantasy happened.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Never
like
come
Final
down off
Fantasy.
that cloud.
That's a
the
huge part of that
history of Square
history.
Enix.
And then Hironobu Sakaguchi's not even there anymore, but everything just keeps going.
Yeah.
All right, Dylan,
That's gonna be Command and Conquer Renegade.
Command and Conquer.
Have you ever played this game before?
No,
This is like one of the most fun like online multiplayer games of all time. Like no game to date that I know of has done like vehicle based like sort of like these.
This
like,
looks like it could be a home improvement game. You're playing Tim the Toolman Taylor
Do you
right
have a
there.
hard hat on?
Like what? Okay, now it
Before you
looks a
take
little
the
different.
pills.
It looked like Fortnite for a little bit.
Awesome. The vehicles in this game are so much fun, and like each side there's the hand of Nod and the
Oh my
Renegades.
gosh.
Terrible driver.
Yeah.
They have their own bases, and so your goal in this game is to basically find the enemy's base and blow up their buildings. And you use that like by having like all these different neat little characters, all the different types of
That's really cool.
The graphics.
cars and things like that. Yeah, it's like old school.
Well, you
PC.
know what the graphics remind me of? Do you guys remember a game called Tribes?
Yeah.
Kinda
This was
reminds me.
around that same time.
It reminds me of that.
But it's like I have so many memories playing this game. Like it's so much fun. Like just like the team-based combat in this is just like it's
What are you
incredible.
It
wearing
reminds
there?
me of the game Winback.
He's an engineer, so like
That
his
same
whole thing is like he's got like
style.
tons of C4, like tons of like utility type
Does it
things.
fly a helicopter?
Yeah, like no game does
Oh, okay, I want it back.
Is that
vehicles.
supposed to be Ash?
as well
the
as this does. I don't know.
Like,
I think that's just
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
be draw
Yeah.
distance.
Yeah.
It's don't go above
It's
this
fog.
height.
It's
or
just
you'll
fog,
get destroyed.
guys. Obviously.
Did you ever play?
It's not an N64 game.
Did you ever play Body Harvest on N64?
Yeah.
So like that kind of reminds
It
me
kinda
of the fact that you could just run around and then jump into any vehicle, like a helicopter or car. Yeah.
That's what's awesome. Yeah, like you can be on the enemy team, and if they hop out of the vehicle and it's unoccupied, you can steal their vehicle. And so there's like these stealth characters that run around, and like
cool.
you can run in and hop in somebody's vehicle, and they're like, oh no, like there's
this-
so many good moments in that game.
This is the Command and Conquer series that started off as a real-time strategy.
Yes,
game.
yeah,
Okay,
absolutely,
okay,
yeah.
cool.
And this was like I think towards like
That's
the
what I thought
end of
you were
them
gonna
making the
show us.
real-time
Yeah.
strategies. They made this, and
Yeah.
then I don't think they
the-
made much after that.
This was right around when EA acquired Westwood,
Okay.
and then it was kind of the beginning of the end. But I remember being really skeptical when it first was announced, but it was really good.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
what do you got, John?
Well, biggest pity, and Paul hasn't said anything, but I'm thinking it reminds me of sort of what would have happened if StarCraft Ghost
Actually
had come
happened.
out. RTS to like third-person action
yeah.
game.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a sort of a what could have been.
Totally.
Because that looks great. That looks like it's just such a
it's so
huge
much
blast.
fun. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like the precursor to Halo
Right.
and like all of those kinds of.
I was thinking it looked
Like
a
some
little
of
bit
some
like
of those
Red
old
versus
school
Blue.
like online multiplayer games that you just play for hours and hours. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'd played that for just hours and hours.
That's what I feel like Tribes was. Like there'd be
Yeah.
no Halo if there was no Tribes. And maybe
Oh.
that's me.
Yeah.
And I love
Talking stupid,
It's
but
the
I feel
same
like-
thing. Tribes was great too.
But like I've been playing like Battlefield and things like that, and they've started bringing in like tanks and things like that into their multiplayer games, and it just doesn't feel good like at all. Like it's just not implemented very well.
Cool about a game like that, though, is even Paul says, I'd be happy playing Renegade how it looks now. He had never seen it. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes a game can just look timeless fun.
Yes.
Graphics,
As long as
you
you're
know,
not playing it on too big a
notwithstanding.
screen. I remember you had an emulator for Tinchu
Yeah.
on like a 50-inch TV. That looked horrible.
Whoa.
That was not gonna work.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like there were some games when I was
Yeah.
making my list, there were some games that popped into my brain, and I was like, no, that still holds up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
right.
Like,
It has a strong style.
yeah.
And
That'll
there's
do
something
it.
to be said about that style
Strong
of game.
art style
Right.
will do it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I want to bring Rostan. I want to see Rostan again, but I was like,
Oh, man.
Rostan 1 holds up graphically. I really like it. And we're like, sort of Vermillion. Yes, we need to fix these controls. Yes, we need to fix it. You know what I mean? So that's why those kind of took
makes
the
sense.
forefront.
Yeah.
Okay.
But okay, so We're gonna take a commercial break really quick, and we'll come back and we'll wrap it up with the last 3 on the list. So we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, friends and family. And let me just start the timer so I know when the commercial goes. You know what? This is, man, like we were just talking during commercial break about how fun it is just to sit around and talk about video games. Friends, like we're friends. We leave here, we're friends. You know, we hang out.
Most of the time. We keep the backstabbing to a minimum.
Yeah.
Small blades.
Even me from back here.
Yeah.
Actually, this is all just one
Quite.
giant
You're
axe, and we're that good at it.
But and it's just it's fun to talk video games with them, but with you guys as well. So let us know in the comment section what games would you like to see revisited, revived, brought back from the dead, because that is our topic of today. And so we're gonna start with Miranda and hit these last games here. Miranda, what do you got for us?
Oh my gosh, so it was really, really hard, like kind of trying to limit how many games after you think about it a while, you're like,
It's
oh my
tough.
gosh, there's so many good ones. There's Shadow Man, there's Echo the Dolphin, there's Panzer
Shikanda
Dragoon,
forever.
like you
Oh,
mentioned,
yeah.
Arcadia. Oh, there's so many good
Shotgun.
ones.
I used to call that Chakon, but it's Shotgun.
Sorry, we
Is it,
totally derailed.
Yeah, we did.
No,
Sorry.
no, but you're right. Like, there's so many, and then once you get to thinking about it, we actually probably should do a few of these.
Yeah.
But I did remember one that made me super happy. It goes back to the days of the Genesis, which is also my gateway.
A lot of Genesis
game
love here,
system.
dude.
This is the Genesis couch.
Genesis love.
It's actually pretty much one of my favorite fighting games of all time. It's called Primal Rage.
Oh, yeah.
And I managed to find some commercials for it online. But this is a game where you are playing. Oh, it's so brilliant.
Another Midway.
Oh,
I will
love
say, I
this
believe,
one.
or
I
Atari,
love
it's
it.
Atari.
It was actually a hyper-violent game for the time too. People were like all upset about it. But no, you're playing these gods, right? Civilization has died. Who will rule Earth? You are TH. Brilliant. So freaking good. And so yeah, there's these demigods on the planet who are all fighting and vying for power, right? And I found this amazing area where it was made in like 1993, I think.
Yeah.
They made actual sculptures of everything, like digitally, like stop motion capture.
They should have made a movie while they were at it. Look at that.
Yeah, it looked great.
No, it's gorgeous. They
models
had
were
a
great.
bunch of excellent concept art when they were developing the game. They wanted to create unique characters in it, obviously. And in the game, you know, while you're fighting, you actually have like little civilians that run around on the ground that you can eat.
Too bad the Genesis version doesn't look like that.
I know. This is
Yeah, this is the arcade, yeah.
Yeah, the arcade had some pretty brilliant stuff. The Genesis one, admittedly, was a little rougher, but it was so much fun. Loved playing Vertigo. Loved playing Talon.
Oh, Vertigo was my
She
favorite.
was great. And it was just this awesome, hyper-violent, but like really responsive control game. It had finishers. I mean, kind of Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat
Yeah, oh
fun in
yeah,
a
for
way.
sure.
But I really liked all the
Monkey
love
peed
that
on
was
you.
put
Doesn't
into
say
it.
chaos.
It was definitely better than Clayface.
And they all
Chaos.
Oh, wait a
controlled
minute.
very
Gosh.
uniquely too, if I remember. Like I remember Vertigo could teleport.
That's right. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
they
She had
all-
the venom she could spit, and the Talon was super fast. Everybody had kind of a specialty.
Yeah, she was like long range.
But check this out. So, if it got remade, all right. So, all right, this is so good.
Sell me
so
that.
there are obviously they play these gods, and you could do it as a fighter game. But what if you just existed in a world where these terrifying creatures are roaming the earth, fighting each other, and you're playing more like a Conan Exiles character, caveman simulator, where you wake up
That's
naked
fun, yeah.
and you're having to like pull twigs apart so you can put your clothing together for the day. You're looking around, you're like, oh Jesus, these things are after me again.
because there are little guys running around in this world
They
always,
are.
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah, and
and they
they're
worship you.
worshippers.
Yeah.
You could
So
align
you
yourself
want to
to
say,
one.
let's take a look at from their
Yes.
point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting take
Kind of
on
the
it.
Maleficent syndrome is what we call it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
It's sort of a
exactly.
twist on it. But then you can still build up your civilizations. But if those gods come around and they start fighting each other, ain't nothing you're gonna be able to do about it. You just
Yeah.
watch. It's like when you're playing Sin City
Well,
and
you
you
could
see a
hide.
tornado go through.
There could be different obstacles you could hide behind, like different
Yeah.
rocks.
It's actually
Okay.
really cool concept there.
It's a brilliant concept, and you need to make this right away because I would buy it and review it and just,
Well, who
just let me know.
owns,
I would
who
buy the
owns
heck out of
Primal
that.
Rage these
Okay,
days?
so here's the whole Primal Rage deal. Actually, we're gonna have the designer, like the creator of Primal Rage, on the show.
No way.
I've already talked to him. It's a good friend of mine, Chris Tang, who worked a lot on the second one. Don't know if you even know.
No.
There is
It
a
never got
full
released.
second one out there.
I had
And
no idea.
played it.
And if you, yeah, I played it too.
Elephant Ghost.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It has like killer instinct combos. The graphics are outstanding. We'll have a stream. I promise. I'm promising you all right now. I'll have you over since you're a fan. A lot of people don't know this. Chris Tang works so hard on this. He actually hates the Genesis port. I'll just say that.
That's fair, but that was just my introduction.
I think he
to
told
it.
me the definitive version was on the PS2 collection.
Oh, okay.
Midway collection. So what happened was that was an Atari game.
Yes.
And it was bought out by Midway right when they were finishing Primal Rage 2. And they were like, well, we're not going to release this. We have Mortal Kombat. And it never seen the light of day.
Yep.
And it's all there. And we're talking, it's a more complete game than Street Fighter V.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Isn't it leaked or something? There's like
yeah,
a
you
leaked-
can get it.
yeah.
Yeah, you can get it now.
Yeah.
There was one cabinet out there.
Yeah.
And it's in, like, I forget what state it's in. but-
Chicago right now, I
Yeah.
think.
Maybe it's is it at Twin Galaxy?
Galloping Ghost.
Galloping Ghost.
It was,
Okay.
it was only built for like production,
Yeah.
like
So
publicity.
It does exist.
I was just in Chicago.
Well,
Yeah, you're just in Chicago.
You're in
so-
the state where Primal 2 exists.
Oh my goodness!
But I have it. Chris Tang sent me everything
That's
that you
so
need.
good.
Oh, that's so cool.
And his behind the scenes videos, I don't even want to. I don't want to spoil too much because we have a show planned.
Awesome.
When he comes on here, he's
Bet I'm gonna be
totally
on.
busy. He's got a whole awesome
Yeah,
game coming
dibs.
out. That's gonna be awesome. But okay, we got to move on. What do you got?
I got Ristar, whatever. I don't know how people pronounce it. You know,
Ristar?
Yeah. I always called it Ristar. But I know that it's a big controversy. Like, how do you?
That's
pronounce
the intro to your old channel.
it? Yeah, my old channel used to have that intro for a while.
See, it's all on the wrist.
The Sega channel. But this game was made by Sonic Team. They did it after Sonic the Hedgehog
remember
3, I
this.
think, or something like that. Somewhere in that period, like early
so
90s,
bad at this
94. And it was such a great, fun character, Ristar. He's a star, a shooting star. And that's the whole concept, is that he's a shooting star and that his planet is being taken over by a Robotnik-esque character. And you've got to save the day. It's story. I don't really actually know much about the story, but the gameplay is where it's at in this game, and the visuals, just
So colorful.
it is so colorful and just
Big sprites.
beautiful animation. The sprites are big. They're really appealing. The character designs, I think, are some of the best that Sonic Team ever came up with. And
He does have a Sonic look.
he's so cute. Look at him. He's so cute though. He's like.
But still, you see Sonic.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do. In the eyes, definitely. That's like their signature look. But what a great game. What a great platformer.
How he controls.
Yeah, and he's pointing like Sonic too.
Yeah, he has the weird idle
It's-
animation where they breathe
But look
like
at those
they're
graphics
Oh, it's
for.
beautiful.
swinging.
Look at
You
the
know.
parallax
It's
scrolling.
like the most
I
Genesis.
love them
thing.
grabbing the enemies and then
the
headbutting them. They would
16-bit
always seem so
goodness.
vicious
Yeah.
to
Oh,
me.
it's just
Great colors.
stunning.
And like this, honestly, this looks like if you say, hey, is this on the Sega Genesis or the Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
It's right in the middle
Yeah,
there,
the
which,
color, yeah.
which is like
Because that's not the kind of color you'd expect on the Genesis.
Exactly.
That's the kind of color you'd
that's a
expect
Super
on
Nintendo
exactly.
color, but.
And it's a very challenging game too. It actually.
I know, dude. When I had to capture this footage for you, I was like, "Screw this game. One level. That's all you're getting, Tyler."
I first played this on Sega Channel, and that's part of what inspired me to use that as an intro. Was the first place I ever played this was on the Sega Channel streaming service, which was in 1994,
Isn't that crazy?
way ahead of its time with Time Warner Communications. or
Look
back
how
then it was
ahead
just-
of the time.
Oh man,
That's like Netflix for video games.
it was so ahead of its time, but it was dial-up.
Yeah.
It was no, I'm sorry, it was a hardwired cable line.
Yeah.
It went right into like a little modem that plugged into your Genesis. And this was that was the first place I played this, only for a month, because that was the thing. It would refresh with new games every month. And I waited. I felt like I was waiting an eternity for this game to come out, but really it was probably just a few months.
That's where Wily Wars
Yeah,
came
right.
from too,
exactly.
right?
Wily Wars was on the Sega Channel for a while, and it never came out in the States. But
How would you do it now?
I would same. I got to stay same here with the way I talked
Platformer.
about. Yeah, I mean, just looking at it, if you refined it a little bit, honestly, you ever played Freedom Planet, the indie game that came out?
yeah.
So like Freedom Planet is an indie developed, basically a successor to the Sonic formula, but done with Ristar type of gameplay and also some other classic Genesis style games. But the look that they captured in Freedom Planet really matches the look of what they were going for in Ristar. So I would honestly just love them to do it exactly the same way. Same pixel art, same engine, just a new game maybe with some new ideas, maybe some more refined graphics, but just like how Mega Man 9 and 10 were like straight up 8-bit
Or
remakes.
Sonic
not remakes,
Mania.
I was going to say Sonic Mania.
right.
Get that team.
Totally. Yeah, get Christian
Really?
Whitehead.
Yep.
Keep it retro.
Yeah, keep it retro. Because honestly, this is perfection. This is one of the greatest looking and playing Genesis games out there.
Okay, awesome, man. Moving right along. My last game, I got 2 games there.
Sure.
So let me do it real fast.
Do both of them.
Do them both?
Do it.
gonna do both.
Do 2 games.
There we
Do
go.
2 games.
Do we have any comments?
Paul said he has not played Rystar, but recognizes it.
Okay.
He also agrees that my Primal Rage pitch is pretty
Another
good, right?
one is Asphalt.
Yes. Actually, he
I
liked
did.
it. Krillin's in the chat right now. He was not a huge fan of Primal Rage, but Paul was.
Yeah.
Wow. At least one of our patrons is.
Yes,
All
he
right,
still went it
awesome.
over and over.
Good to have our
We're
Patreons
split
in there.
50-50 right now.
Speaking up. So, okay, the first game, and I'll just briefly mention this, and this is Battle of Olympus, which is one of my favorite NES games of all time. Now, I think this game gets a bad rep because people always say it's a Zelda 2 clone. And Zelda 2, oddly, it's one of the Zeldas that people don't really like, and it's my favorite Zelda, which is crazy that most people don't like Zelda 2. I don't know why.
It's like Temple of Doom.
I agree.
It's like Temple of Doom. Like it's on my favorite Indiana Jones movie, you know? And this plays, it does feel like Zelda 2. And you'll see these graphics and you're like,
Yeah.
wait,
Yeah.
isn't that guy pulled from Zelda?
That
I
looks
am
like
error.
the same house from
Yeah.
the
It does.
Yeah, it really
fireplace
does.
and
But this
everything.
is all
Yeah.
set in like a real Greek mythology setting, and it's
Whoa. Are you trying to say that Zelda 2 is not set in a real setting?
no, I'm saying it's set in
A real world,
I
not
don't know,
Hyrule.
man. There's the
Hyrule
girl that
exists.
gives you life. I'm just kidding.
Oh no.
Oh no,
We won't
man.
tell you how.
Behind
It's
the
Zelda
Honestly,
2, but
this looks like Zelda meets Fantastic Dizzy.
have you played this game?
I've never played this.
It's
great.
It's amazing.
Are you trying to stab slugs?
It's really hard at first.
Love slugs.
It's really hard at first.
Oh,
Later
sorry.
you get a staff that throws fire, and it's a little easier to get
The
something.
graphics are
Slugs.
really good. They really stand out. It's better graphics than Zelda 2.
It's a good looking game.
Probably came
Yeah,
out
What's
like,
the-
for
A lot of variety.
NES,
Different,
it's
yeah.
This is-
NES.
okay,
it's
yeah.
really good.
Like how
detailed,
the
colorful.
overworld's like a heat map.
What's that?
The overworld.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like a heat map.
It's very colorful for an NES.
Greece is a hot place.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Usually
color
have
in
good
it.
background.
And I got a lot of footage here, but I don't have a lot of time, So I'm gonna move on to was it Kajako Joe? What is it? I want to say, it's Spellcaster is what I want to see again.
Oh,
Mystic Defender is probably what the asset says, sorry. So this comes from a long line of games that span from Japan to here. We've gotten 2 here. There's tons of them in Japan. I did a whole huge video on this whole series.
Road to Recovery. You did.
It's a Road to Recovery,
Yeah.
yeah. So go watch that. I go so into detail on this whole series. Spellcaster is insanely difficult, man. Even when I tried to when I replayed it for
It is hard.
when I replayed it to capture footage for the Road to Recovery, I was like, I'm not gonna use the internet. I'm gonna let muscle memory. It took me 2 weeks every night coming home to finally beat this game. Now, out of the whole series, Mystic Defender is my favorite of them all, which is this one right here for the Sega Genesis.
Whoa.
And so I remember I bought this game. This is the one of the first titles I get besides the pack-in Altered Beast. When Sega Genesis came out, they had the pack-in, and you could send away for a free game, which is Golden Axe. This is the first game I buy after that,
Awesome.
and I hated it.
Oh, you initially
I
hated it,
absolutely
yeah.
hated it. I thought, man, I wasted all this money. But back then, what are you gonna do? But you're gonna play this game, and then when you learn everything it has, and you get good at it, and I can practically no death run this game.
That's awesome.
And it's just such a good game. But that's it. We haven't seen this since 16-bit. I wanted to come back, and I wanted to come back in the style of how they brought Fist of the North Star into Yakuza World, and that's what I want to see. A Mystic
awesome.
Defender, a Spellcaster game in that style.
Is it based on a manga
It's based off of
or manga?
yes, it's based off of a manga, but there's also anime. There's also TV shows. There's You got to watch that Road
Japan,
Recovery.
yeah.
I cover.
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
Cover a
filming,
lot of it. in there.
Krillin likes the way it looks.
Yeah.
And so I would love to revisit that series
I'll have to
again.
go check out the whole
That's a
thing.
good one.
Yeah. So, wow, look we did it. It's like we're wrapping it up. So that is our round table, guys. Thank you so much. This is live for Patreon, live for TV audience. Guys, we want to know in the comment section now that it's up on YouTube. You're watching this on YouTube. Let us know what games would you like to see revisited. There's so many. Making the list and only choosing 2 was torture.
And
Yeah,
we'll do this topic again, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll have to bring it
Short amount
back.
of time even. So.
I know that the 2 I chose were like literally off the top of my head. I didn't give it much thought at all, but there's just so many.
It was
that
easy
It was
to-
just
yeah, it's
easy.
easy to
Oh,
get to.
well, yeah. Oh, there you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. So, that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, like, comment, subscribe, YouTube, all that good stuff. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for participating. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey guys, I just want to take a minute and thank you for watching that video. We really appreciate it here. I just want to thank all of you guys for the support that you have given this channel. And I also want to thank our Patreon people. Special thanks to them for helping us get some of the items that we have on our sets and things like that. We really, really appreciate you guys. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And there's some videos up here. Maybe you guys want to click on one of those to see what else we have in our library, our video library. And also, I just want to say, please share this content on social media. Get the word out there. We just want Media Glitch to grow so we can do bigger and better things. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. We appreciate it here. I'm speaking on behalf of all the staff of Media Glitch. We'll see you guys.